picks for TV's best series finales, so now let's get ready to look at the flip side. First, I want to point out that I know a lot of people have their own ideas of the best and worst examples of this, which will include some I didn't mention last time and won't mention now. There are definitely a number of other finales that can be among the best, among the worst, and some that could stir debate on if they should be on one or the other. I appreciate the differences in opinions, and of course, debate and discussion are always welcome. So with that out of the way, let's get started with my picks for the 5 worst TV series finales. Number 5, Seinfeld. For one reason or another, this show never really interested me, so I wasn't among the near-record crowd that watched this finale. But the outcry for how it ended makes it unable to be left off this list. Jerry gets a second chance on the TV show he pitched to NBC 5 years earlier and decides to take advantage of the network by using their jet to fly to Paris. The gang gets stuck in a small Massachusetts town and they get arrested for not helping out a carjacking, and after one ridiculous trial, they get sentenced to prison for a year. Even not being a fan of this show, I can see how it pissed people off. It's a giant slap in the face to the viewers to make it look like these characters are going to get what they want and have it end by blowing up in their faces. The trial looked like one bad parody of the OJ trial, which would have been more relevant 3 to 4 years earlier, and the whole message at the end about their no hugging, no learning attitude comes off as either chastising the viewers for liking these characters for the past 9 years, or insulting good Samaritans by making them look like holier-than-thou pricks. This was still the most popular show on TV at the time, and it only ended because Jerry Seinfeld didn't want to do it anymore. Hey, that's his choice, but the way they ended it just looked like a whole we don't care and one big middle finger to the show's loyal viewers. Number 4, The X-Files. Talk about a show kept well past its shelf life. A series that was supposed to end after 5 years and continue in a series of movies was dragged on for 9 years with so many convoluted plot twists that you wonder if J.J. Abrams was inspired. The last season didn't even involve David Duchovny until they coaxed him back for this last episode. Mulder breaks into a government facility and supposedly kills one of their agents to discover the truth he's been seeking this whole time. Even though the alien invasion was supposedly stopped 3 years ago, and he found out what happened to his sister a year later. He then refuses to reveal what he's discovered, not even to testify on his behalf, and gets sentenced to death. So Scully and everyone else have to throw away their lives to break him out, just to have him run off to New Mexico to meet, him again. Mr. Lung Cancer then reveals the truth that Mulder discovered, that the aliens' ultimate conquest will take place on, guess when, December 22nd, 2012, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And he's been cheating death and keeping Mulder alive this whole time, just to see the look on Mulder's face when he discovered it. This proved for good and all that Chris Carter didn't have a clue as to how he was going to end this thing, and it made me feel like the 5 years I spent following this show was one big waste of my time. Number 3, Veronica Mars. Yeah, I'm going after this show again. Back when I reviewed it, time constraints prevented me from bringing up how the final episode was just the cherry on the top of this whole thing. And yes, it may not technically be a true finale, since the producers didn't know at the time if the show was being renewed, hence the ambiguous ending, but it's bad enough to include. Veronica discovers her dorm room has been bugged, and now there are videos of her and her boyfriend on the internet. So since it's personal, she goes to every length to find out who did it, and of course it leads her to some secret society of privileged men keeping the poor and the women folk in check, and the whole thing is run by Duncan Kane's father. So she steals Kane's hard drive just to find out who the one person is and get as much dirt on the society that she can. Remember, at this time, her father Keith is the sheriff again, so there's no corrupt, incompetent law enforcement that she has to deal with. She has no reason to not go to the authorities first, other than not wanting Daddy to know she's been with a boy. Long story short, Keith has to cover for her, getting himself charged with a major crime and blowing any chance he has at winning the sheriff's election. And that is the only way Veronica feels even the slightest remorse for what she's done. The episode's title, "The Bitch is Back," says it all. I put this right up there with Veronica helping Duncan kidnap his child as the ultimate example of why I hate this series and its message that the whole world is one big crap sack where there's no real justice and revenge is the only weapon the weak have over the strong. Look, if you like this series, fine. You don't have to agree with me. That's your right. But I'm keeping my own opinion on this show that it's a negative, nonsensical piece of propaganda that promotes anarchy. Rob Thomas, as far as I'm concerned, you suck! Number 2, Quantum Leap. The last two on the list really hurt because they're from two of my favorite shows ever. And what's worse in this case is that this was a really good episode, right until the final 30 seconds. Sam finds himself in a Pennsylvania mining town on literally the day he was born, and he's also himself now. After a whole story involving the rescue of some miners, Sam discovers that there are other leapers like him and believes that the owner of the bar in this town is actually the ethereal being that has been leaping him through time. But the bartender responds by saying it's been Sam the whole time. It's actually a brilliant revelation that the source of Sam's time travel has actually been his own subconscious desire to make the world a better place, which was actually hinted at in the pilot.
You will only do this as long as you want to.
Are you saying I can leap home anytime I want?
Technically, yes.
What's the catch?
The catch is that you have to accept that you control your own destiny.
Sam determines one of the biggest things holding him back has been his guilt that he refused to help save Al's first marriage when he had the chance. And so he goes back to fix things, and the result is... That one 6-word sentence completely ruined the entire ending to this series. From what I've heard, it was actually thrown in at the last minute due to NBC's abrupt cancellation of the series. Fans to this day argue over what exactly that meant. Did Sam willingly choose to keep leaping and help others? Or did he create some kind of time paradox that made it impossible for him to come home? Whatever the case, writers of both fan fiction and actual published novels on the series continually insist in their own works that that last claim did not really happen. But my pick for the #1 worst TV series finale, oh yes, one simple 3-letter word, ALF! Let's get this out of the way. This was the very first primetime show that I ever made it a point to watch every week. I loved this show about a quirky, sarcastic alien from another planet and his having to live in secret on Earth. Gordon Shumway was an icon of entertainment in the 1980s, but by the show's 4th season, the network kept screwing over the show by shifting its time slot, and then this happened. Alf receives a transmission from his fellow Melmacians saying they found a new planet to inhabit and offer to take him with them. He decides he can't pass up on the chance to return to his people and thus has to say goodbye to the Tanners as they prepare to help him in his departure. Unfortunately, the alien task force has apparently become competent all of a sudden, and they intercept and decipher the message. Thus, just as Alf is about to be beamed aboard...
What? Wait! Don't leave me!
Remember you are.
Hey guys, you wanna grab a brewski?
This episode originally aired on a to-be-continued note, and the second part never aired! This haunted me for years as to whether or not I just missed the second part or if they ever were going to reveal it until I finally found out what happened. At the time of production, NBC wouldn't tell the producers if they were going to renew the show or not, but they promised they would get one more week's spot to resolve the cliffhanger. Then, after production, they canceled the show and completely turned around on their word, and thus the producers, actors, and viewers all got royally screwed up the ass. It's because of this that I have had a major vendetta against NBC to this day. I didn't even watch Friends or Will and Grace except in syndicated reruns, and I've only watched 30 Rock on Netflix or DVDs borrowed from the library. All because their stupid network politics resulted in the worst ending to a TV series ever! I've been so pissed off by that episode that I still have never seen the Alf reunion movie that aired years after the finale on another network. In fact, just remembering all of this, it makes me so mad that I may just declare that this is the last TV trash episode ever! Just kidding, just kidding. See you next time on TV Trash. Ha 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 ha! Oh, I kill me. So, what's on the docket for the rest of this season? Hey, I finally get to do another Charlie Brown review. And then... Wait a minute, didn't I already do a TV movie review last month? What am I doing now? Oh, you gotta be kidding me.